Okay, so yesterday, Imogen wanted to do what to get a baby Jesus?
Steal one from one of the markets because the parents just leave them out of strollers back in the day.
Steal one from the strollers outside of the A&P supermarket. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah.
Now, if you have never been taught the difference between right and wrong, would you know that that was wrong? Common sense tells us that that is wrong, right?
Yeah.
Common sense and not being crazy tells us that's wrong. But when you are in an environment that doesn't promote using common sense, you don't have a lot of common sense. And that's common sense. Our last rehearsal happened to be the night before the potluck supper. And when we got there, the kitchen was full of ladies in aprons counting out dishes and silverware and making applesauce cake for the dessert. "I'm sorry about this," one of the ladies told Mother, "but with so much to do at this time of year, the committee decided to come in this evening and set up the tables and all. I just hope we won't bother you." "Oh, you won't," Mother said. "We won't be in the kitchen. You won't even know we're here." Mother was wrong. Everybody in the end of town knew that we were there before the evening was over. "Now, this is going to be our dress rehearsal," Mother told us all. And right away, 3 or 4 baby angels began hollering that they forgot their wings. Half the angel choir had forgotten their robes, one of which was Doris because Janet had hers. Okay, that's who I was. Okay, anyway. And Hobie Carmichael said he didn't have any kind of costume at all. "Wear your father's bathrobe," Charlie told him. "That's what I do." "He doesn't have a bathrobe." "What does he wear around the house hang around the house in?" "His underwear," Hobie said. I looked at Alice Wendelkin to see if she was going to write that down on her pad of paper, but Alice was standing all by herself in a corner, patting her hair. Her hair was all washed and curled, and her robe was clean and pressed. She had even put Vaseline on her eyelids so that they would shine in the candlelight, and everyone would say, "Who is that lovely girl in the angel choir? Why isn't she merry?" I guess Alice was afraid to move for fear she might spoil herself. So is it fair that Alice is writing down all the bad things that the Herdmans do? No. And somebody does and says something exactly like the Herdmans, and she doesn't do anything. Allie?
No, but I do think it would be if it was hurting other people.
Yeah, I mean, so for one, what Hobie did isn't hurting anybody, but some of the things that the Herdman said weren't hurting anybody either. They were saying things because they didn't know any better. Hobie knows that he shouldn't be talking about underwear. It's still not hurting anybody. So I get that. But if what Hobie said isn't hurting anybody, so she didn't write it down, should she be writing down, Bennett? Don't. Should she be writing down what the Herdmans are saying that aren't hurting anybody? If that's the way she's going to go? Or is she picking on the Herdmans? She's picking on the Herdmans. Now, not saying that what the Herdmans are doing is not bad and shouldn't be addressed. Okay, some of what they do needs to be addressed. That is for sure. But if you're just picking at somebody for the sake of picking at that person, they're not the problem. You are. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
All right. Are you surprised that I made sense, Benjamin?
Yes, very.
You were just asking.
Because you never make sense.
Yeah, we'll let you say.
Now we're just picking on you.
Ah.
That's what happens
Don't worry about the wings, Mother said. The main point of a dress rehearsal isn't the costumes. The main point is to go right straight through without stopping. And that's what we're going to do, just as if we were doing it for the whole congregation. I'm going to sit in the back of church and be the audience. But it didn't work that way. The baby angels came in at the wrong place and had to go back out again. And the whole gang of shepherds didn't come in at all for fear of Gladys. Imogene couldn't find the baby Jesus doll and wrapped up a great big memorial flower urn in a blanket and then dropped it at Ralph's foot. And half the angel choir sang Away in the Manger, while the other half sang O Little Town of Bethlehem. So we had to start over a lot. I've got the baby here, Imogene barked at the wise men. Don't touch him. I named him Jesus. No, Mother came flying up the aisle. Now, Imogene, you know you're not supposed to say anything. Nobody says anything in our pageant except the angel of the Lord and the choir singing carols. Mary and Joseph and the wise men make a lovely picture for us to look at while we think about Christmas and what it means. I guess Mother had to say things like that, even though everybody knew it was a big lie. The Herdmans didn't look like anything out of the Bible, more like trick-or-treaters. Imogene even had on great big gold earrings, and she wouldn't take them off. Now, Imogene, Mother said, you know Mary didn't wear earrings. I have to wear these, Imogene said. Why is that? I got my ears pierced, and if I don't keep something in them, they'll grow together. Well, they won't grow together in an hour and a half, Mother said. No, but I better leave them in. Imogene pulled on her earring, which made you shudder. It was like looking at the pictures in National Geographic of natives with their ears stretched all the way to their shoulders. What did the doctor say about leaving something in them? Mother said. What doctor? Well, who pierced your ears? Gladys, Imogene said. That really made you shudder. The thought of Gladys Herdman piercing ears? I thought she probably used an ice pick. And for the next 6 months, I kept watching Imogene to see her ears turn black and fall off. All right, Mother said, but we'll try to find something smaller and more appropriate for you to wear in the pageant. Now, we'll start again and go straight through. And I think I ought to tell him what his name is, Imogene said. No, besides, you remember it wasn't Mary who named the baby. I told you, Ralph whacked Imogene on the back. I named him. Joseph didn't name the baby either, Mother said. God sent his angel to tell Mary what his name should be. Imogene sniffed. I would have named him Bill. Alice Wendelkin sucked in her breath, and I could hear her scratching down on the pad of paper that Imogene Herdman would have called the baby Bill instead of Jesus. What angel was that? Ralph wanted to know. Was that Gladys? No, Mary said. Gladys is the angel who comes to the shepherds with the news. Yeah, Gladys says. Unto you a child is born, she yelled at the shepherds. Unto me, Imogen yelled back at her. Not them, me. I'm the one who had the baby. No, Mother sat down in the front pew. That just means that Jesus belongs to everybody. Unto all of us a child is born. Now, she sighed. Let's start again. And why didn't they let Mary name her own baby? Imogen demanded. What did the angel do? Just walk up and say, name him Jesus? Yes, Mother said, because she was in a hurry to get finished. But Alice Wendelkin had to open her big mouth. I know what the angel said, Alice piped up. She said, his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. I could have hit her. My God, Imogen said. Not something she should have been saying, right? He'd never get out of the first grade if he had to write all that. There was a big crash at the back of church as if somebody dropped all the collection plates, but it wasn't the collection plates. It was Mrs. Hopkins of the minister's wife, dropping a whole tray of silverware. I'm sorry, she said. I was just passing by and I thought I'd take a peek. Would you like to sit down and watch rehearsal? Mother said. No, Miss Hopkins said. She couldn't seem to take her eyes off Imogen. I'd better go check on the the applesauce cake. You didn't have to say that, I told Alice. All that about wonderful, everlasting father and all? Why not? Alice said, patting her hair. I thought Imogen wanted to know.
She's a virgin.